The Mike Huckabee Scandal, a story about power, ideas, and mystery. When it comes to controversial people in American politics and the media, Mike Huckabee is one of the most talked about. He has worked as a Southern Baptist minister, Fox News host, former governor of Arkansas, and two-time Republican presidential candidate. His career has been built at the intersection of politics, faith, and entertainment. Huckabee's supporters see him as a strong supporter of Christian morals and conservative ideals. His critics see him as a symbol of how politics and faith are becoming more mixed up in the U.S., often walking a fine line between stirring up trouble and standing up for what's right. But what is the real problem with Mike Huckabee that is causing all the trouble? Are they really caused by disagreements of ideas, or do they show greater problems in American society? From fiery political commentary to social problems that make you raise an eyebrow. The way people talk and act about Huckabee will never be the same. Let's look into the problems, where they came from, and what they mean. How Mike Huckabee got famous. A quick history. Before getting into the scandals, it's important to know how Huckabee became famous. In 1955, Huckabee was born in Hope, Arkansas, which is the same small town where President Bill Clinton grew up. He came from a working-class family. His early work as a pastor set the stage for his later job in politics. Huckabee became governor of Arkansas in 1996 and held the job until 2007. During his time in office, he worked on economic policies, health programs, and changes to the way schools work. But it wasn't long before he was known across the country. He ran for president in 2008 and 2016. In his campaigns, he stressed Christian principles. Voters who are evangelical like small government and populist language. Even though Huckabee had some successes in politics, it also set the stage for the scandals that would follow him into the media and beyond. The first disagreement is about God's standards. Thoughts? Most of Huckabee's well-known problems come from how openly he talks about his faith and how it affects public policy. In 2015. This week, Huckabee made news when he said, "I respect the courts, but the Supreme Court is not the supreme being." He was talking about same-sex marriage on a BC. Nature's laws and God's laws are still more important than people's rules. This comment started a big fight. People who supported Huckabee liked how he stuck to his Christian beliefs even though times were changing. But his critics said he was weakening the separation of church and state, a very important part of American democracy. Many people saw this event as the perfect example of Huckabee's dual identity as a preacher and a politician, as a man who can combine religion and government with ease. His critics say that this mixing is not only wrong but also dangerous. No. Two comments on women and the dynamics of the workplace. In 2014, Huckabee was under a lot of review for things he said in a speech at the winter meeting of the Republican National Committee. He said Democrats were insulting American women by making them think they couldn't control their libido or reproductive system without help from the government. Democrats want to insult American women by making them think they are helpless without Uncle Shipper coming in and giving them a little free birth control. The reaction came quickly and hard. Supporters of women's rights called the words sexist. Even some Republicans tried to distance themselves from what Huckabee said. Even though there was a lot of noise, Huckabee said his words were taken out of context. This event showed that Huckabee likes to talk about social problems in harsh, often offensive language, which pleases his base but turns off moderates. Third cause for controversy: support for Kim Davis. Kim Davis, a county clerk in Kentucky. She became famous across the country when, because of her religious views, she wouldn't give marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Davis was jailed for a short time for contempt of court, which started a debate across the country about the balance between religious freedom and the state. It turned out that Mike Huckabee was one of Davis's biggest fans. He stood by her side at a rally after she was freed and said, "If someone needs to go to jail, I'm willing to go in her place." Evangelical Christians liked Huckabee because he supported them. It was also criticized by lawyers and people who fight for human rights. They said that his position set a bad example by encouraging public officials to ignore court decisions based on their own views. No. 4 tweets and social media storms that caused trouble. People often rate public figures by what they do on social media these days, and Huckabee is no different. His Twitter account has become a main source of trouble. Some people have said that he uses controversial language. In 2018, Huckabee sent out a tweet with a joke about Nancy Pelosi and MS-13 gang members. This tweet caused a lot of controversy. While some people called the tweet dehumanizing and upsetting, Huckabee said the anger was just politics. This happened again in 2021, when Huckabee made a joke about pretending to be Chinese to get something for free. Many people thought the tweet was racist and asked the person who sent it to apologize. But Huckabee didn't back down. He saw the reaction as an attack on free speech. 5. Another argument: ties to troublesome people. People don't like Huckabee because he is linked to some controversial people, mostly in politics and the media, because he backed former President Donald Trump. Even though they were criticized during the 2016 primaries, raised questions. To explain his decision, Huckabee said that Trump's plans were in line with conservative values. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Huckabee's daughter, was White House press secretary under Trump. This linked the Huckabee family to more scandals during the Trump administration. Some people say that Huckabee's unwavering support for Trump shows that he is ready to put politics ahead of principle. 6. Thoughts on race and identity that caused a stir. People are also angry about what Huckabee has said about race and identity. Criticizing critical race theory (CRT) in schools, he said in a tweet in 2021, was controversial and not American. His enemies said he lied about CRT and stirred up fears to win over his base. This debate shows how Huckabee usually deals with complicated social issues by making them simple and funny, even if it means leaving out some subtleties. His audience likes this approach, but it has also led to accusations that he is not sensitive. The memory of Huckabee. You can love or hate him. Mike Huckabee is still a controversial figure in American society, whether he is a politician, a media personality, or a public figure. His fans like how he doesn't back down from his beliefs and values, but his critics see him as a divisive figure whose words make things worse in society. But no one can argue with Huckabee's ability to stay relevant in a political scene that is always changing. Whether you like him or not, his impact shows how charisma, conviction, and controversy can last for a long time. In conclusion, a reflection of the differences in America. The problems with Mike Huckabee are not just about one person. They show bigger problems in American society. We can look at Huckabee's work to see how it relates to the most important issues facing the country right now, from religious freedom to the role of the government in people's personal lives. As long as Huckabee keeps taking his platform around, the arguments he starts will stay as heated as ever, no matter what. Mike Huckabee is someone who makes us think about the beliefs and ideals that make us who we are.